All right. So, welcome everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening for Safer Internet Day. This is an amazing opportunity every year to reflect on the ways that we can make our internet safer and kinder. And what better way to do that than really showcasing some of my digital tattoos interns capstone projects. So my name is Abby Carlin Resnick. I'm the interim executive director here for my digital tattoo. And I'm here with Rachel Lee, our director of curriculum and programs, and Omar Rivera, our teen empowerment program manager. There we go. And Omar and Rachel are going to be moderating the event this evening. But before we dive in, for those of you who are new to My Digital Tattoo, we help young people navigate online complexities and think critically about the benefits and drawbacks of their digital use so that they can make healthy choices and be in control of their technology. In addition to the work that we do with schools, parents, and healthcare providers, we also work directly with high school students through our two teen empowerment programs, our summer internship program, which we call ShiftCtrl, and our year-long Youth Voices Advisory Board. As part of the summer internship, our teens select and conduct extensive research on a technology related topic of their choice. And then they present that research and it's featured on KQED's music media showcase. It is that time of day. And importantly, for us at My Digital Tattoo, in addition to the opportunity it gives for high school students to engage in this research and leadership, that research actually directly informs My Digital Tattoo's curriculum. So we are thrilled tonight to bring three of those presentations to you tonight by Jake, Nisa, and Sophia in what we call our Flip the Script Teen Showcase. And this is really an opportunity for us to learn together from young people themselves. So the format tonight, you're going to be hearing from each of our presenters back to back, and then we will open it up for questions from you. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Omar to get us going.
Thank you so much, Abby. Hello, everyone. I am Omar, the program manager here. Happy Safer Internet Day, February 11th. It's a very big deal. I think this is a good time to also mention that we are being sponsored by Connect Safely here. And it's so fitting because Safer Internet Day is about raising awareness about being safe online, digital safety, right? And that's what we are all about here at My Digital Tattoo. That's what Connect Safely is all about as well. And both us, My Digital Tattoo and Connect Safely, offer incredible resources to help you with that on our websites and programs as well. And of course, I'm going to plug in my, Abby already did it, but yes, we got our team programs that you can learn more about in our website, our teen empowerment page. And you can always email me, omar@mydigitaltattoo.org, if you want to learn more about that. I'll put my email in the chat a little bit later. Yeah, for now, I want to get started with our presentations. And feel free to use the chat to leave comments and even leave questions. We're going to be letting you ask your questions, or I can read questions from the chat after the three presentations when we have our collective Q&A. So with that said, I'm going to have us start off with Jake's presentation on in-game currency. All right, Jake, take the floor.
Okay, hello. As Omar introduced, my name is Jake. Today I'll be presenting on in-game currency. First is the table of contents, what we'll be going over today. So first we have intro to in-game currency. Why is it a problem? What causes these problems? What are the effects of having in-game currency, and how can we help kids with this problem? First is the intro to in-game currency. For those of you who don't know, in-game currency is any virtual money used within a game. It can be used to purchase items, enhance gameplay, or unlock features. And some examples of this is V-Bucks in Fortnite, Robux in Roblox, coins or gems in Brawl Stars, and legacy credits or Overwatch coins in Overwatch. Omar.
Love
Um,
Overwatch.
okay. Popularity and appeal of in-game currency. In-game currency is used widely in mobile, console, and PC games across the world. It's a billion-dollar industry, and a company, specifically EA Sports, uses in-game currency and has a net worth of over $39.29 billion. And in-game currency gives you unique access and rare items to items in the game. You're able to access sections of the game that you aren't able to without in-game currency. It gives you faster advancement in the game, and you're able to access skins for your avatar. So for those of you who play Fortnite or Roblox, in-game currency is perfect for you because you actually need to pay for those. So there are actually two different types of in-game currency in mini games. So there's hard currency and soft currency. Hard currency, usually pay with real money just to get the hard currency. It's harder to earn just by playing the game, and it's much more valuable. You're able to obtain special or rare items in games, and in mini games, it's called diamonds and gems. And specifically in Fall Guys, which I kind of play a lot, is called Showbucks. And the next is soft currency. It's earned through gameplay. It's easier to obtain just by playing the game. It's not usually as valuable, and it can't buy as many things in the game. And they're usually called coins and gold. And in Fall Guys, it's called kudos. You can actually earn both just by playing the game, but hard currency is much harder to get. Here's why it can become a problem. It can cause addiction. Encourages overspending on currency. Number two, financial impact. Kids might spend large amounts of money without realizing the real world cost. Third, transparency. Hard to track how much you're spending. So for those of you parents out there, I'm sure you don't really give your kids access to your bank account information. So I feel like if kids are spending money on this, they don't really know how much they're spending. And certain games have gambling elements, such as FIFA from EA Sports. They have like character packs and things like that, and they only have like a certain chance of getting a character. So there's definitely a gambling element in the mini games. Here are some causes that may cause addiction and bad things from in-game currency. Um, First is desire to keep up with friends or trends. You want to keep up with the popularity within your friend groups. You know, you don't really want to fall behind. Second is lack of financial awareness. Kids might not understand the real world money value of purchases. Third is accessibility. It's way too easy to access credit cards and parental payment methods. For example, let's say you're playing on your mom's phone and your mom has Apple Pay on there. It's way too easy to just 2 clicks and you're able to buy something. And it's just way too easy and doesn't have as many gates to pay for currency. Fourth is rewards. They give you rewards, and you might want to spend more money with the result of faster progression within the game. There are many effects of in-game currency too. It can cause accidental overspending without knowing you are actually overspending. It can cause mental health problems. It can lead to stress, anxiety, gambling habits, and addiction. And I'm sure many of you parents don't really want your kids to start gambling as a 3-year-old child. Third, social impact. It can make people feel left out or bullied if they can't have the same things as their friends. And number four, for those gamers out there, I'm pretty sure you know what pay to win means. But basically, for those of you who don't, it's where people buy their way into the game and have special access to these like guns, skins, or certain special characters. And it may not offer a free or an equal chance for others who don't really pay for those to win the game. Next, we'll watch this quick video of someone who actually overspend on a certain game.
大悟です。 FGO プレイヤーです。だいたい起きてる時は触ってるみたいな感じ。ご飯食べてる時もお風呂と寝てる時以外はだいたいあと車運転してる時以外は触ってると思うんですけどね。多分700万ぐらいはそれ以上してると思いますけど、もうそれ以上はもうあんまり考えないようにしてますね。まあ貯めてたお金があったので、まあ、それをあとはちょっと運用して株とか先物とかそっち系ですね。まあただ単にその強くするにはっていうのもあるしですね。1人出すのに多分5万ぐらいかかってて、それをオーグレベル5っていう風にしたかったので、まあそれでかける5なんで25万以上ですね。
Come on, Lancer, 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 Saber! Oh! I'm actually okay with this.
And this is the best actual roll I've ever had. 85 quid left in the bank, and I'm gonna spend 60 quid. I've already spent 120 quid. That's a lot for me, who doesn't have a stable job because I'm in uni. Give me this shit. Give me this shit. Give me this shit, boy!
映画の感動だったら1800円だし、まあ、僕のその FGO での感動がね700万か。
There's an example of someone spending over 70K on a game. Okay, so let's do a quick poll for the audience. Let's say you're a parent and your child spends over $1,000 on games. What is your next move, and how do you address this? So maybe you can, I'll give you 10 seconds and we can put some answers in the chat. Okay, I see one. File for fraud. That's very possible. You can fraudulent. Start asking a question about what game they were playing. Yeah, you always want to be communicative with your child to make sure that they understand what they're paying for. Whoop them. Freak out. Ask what they purchased and how and why. Immediately, I think to get the money back. So I'm seeing a bunch of like file for fraud or like get the money back, and that's the thing. When you're buying in-game currency, sometimes some companies have like little terms and agreements that they say, "Oh, non-refundable." And when you try to go back, they actually don't allow them to refund the money. So that's not really possible. Yeah, you always really want to be communicative with your child. Talk to them about good financial decision. Yeah, all good answers. Okay, so here are some solutions that we can implement to mitigate the effects of in-game currency. So first, like many of you guys said in the chat, education. Teach children about the real importance of understanding real-world money before purchasing anything in games. So you always want to be communicate with them, make sure they understand what they're buying, so they won't make the same mistake over again. Use parental controls to make it harder to use credit cards on devices. So maybe like turn off Apple Pay or have like some screen time or something like that to prevent kids from using credit cards as easily. And for game companies, you can always include more different types of gates to make it harder for kids to purchase money without knowing. Make it in big text, saying non-refundable. You cannot refund this. Once you buy it, there's no going back. Things like that. Engage in other outside activities that separate you from technology. For those of you gamers out there, you know, go touch grass. In conclusion, in-game currency can be fun and engaging, but it comes with some risks. As teens, we can be role model for kids and watch our spending on games. It is essential for parents, educators, and gaming companies to educate children and prevent them from accidental spending. By being safe and aware of our spending, we can enjoy all games. And that's it. Thank you.
Amazing job. Thank you so much, Jake. And folks, if you have questions for Jake, if you could just jot them down, please don't forget them because we're going to come back and have the opportunity to chat with Jake.
Wonderful, incredible. I am just now reading some of the answers from your poll, Jake, in the chat, and these are some very funny ones. Like the I double it and give it to the next person. Oh, yes. All right, incredible work. I know that I have a lot of questions myself because I am a gamer myself, and I do relate to some of these issues here, including like accidentally paying something and learning the hard way. You can't get that money back. And maybe if I have time, I'll share that story later. But for now, I want to give the space and time to Nisa, who will be our next presenter today. Let me open up the slides for you, and the floor is yours.
Okay, so hello everyone. Today I'm going to be talking about the role of social media on the 2024 presidential election. So my name is Nisa. As you guys know, I'm a past intern at My Digital Tattoo, and this is my capstone project. So first, let's recap the current events about the election. As many of you know, Trump has officially taken his place as the 47th president of the United States. He beat his Democratic rival, Kamala Harris, in all 7 closely watched swing states, giving him a decisive advantage overall. He's broadened his appeal across nearly all groups of voters since 2020, his defeat. And in doing so, he pulled off a comeback unmatched by any previously defeated president in modern history. So many voters have expressed their ideas about why Trump won. Many Trump voters think that his win was due to issues such as inflation and immigration and him speaking out on this. Many people who voted for Kamala Harris think his win was due to other factors such as misinformation online, the influence of billionaires, racism, and sexism. One Trump voter states, hearing that Donald Trump was the winner of this election gave me the feeling of the weight of the world being lifted off of my shoulders. I was ecstatic. So Barack Obama even spoke out about Trump's win on the social media platform X. He begins by addressing that it's not the outcome he had hoped for, but must accept. He then congratulates Kamala Harris for running such an admirable and strong campaign, and finishes off by talking about, as in a country as diverse as ours, we may not see eye to eye on everything, but it's still important to always extend good faith and good grace to everybody. So now let's get into the role of social media in the election. So Mark Cuban wrote on a post on X, this seems to be a race where everyone's frame of reference is influenced more by the narratives delivered by the algorithms we consume than the actual events themselves. So who does get their election info from social media? Turns out about 1 in 5 Americans say they regularly get this news from social media. Most of these influencers are likely to be found on X and other social media such as Instagram and YouTube. Slightly more of these influencers identify as Republican, a clear majority of them are men, and most have no real background with any news organizations. So here's a closer look at Kamala Harris's and Trump's influence on social media. Kamala seemed to appeal more to younger crowds by having rappers such as Megan Thee Stallion perform at her rallies. A quote says she catered directly towards our generation on TikTok in the way that she stayed up on top of current trends. She also endorsed a lot of celebrities, which seemed like a good marketing move at the time. Similarly, the Trump campaign tried to reach younger voters. He made it a point to present on many podcasts, such as the Joe Rogan podcast, and maintain his image on social media throughout the campaign season. So, why do people get election info from social media? For one thing, voters find it easy to absorb information fed through them through platforms they use on the daily. This is due to shortened attention spans from apps such as TikTok or Instagram, and some people don't want to read entire articles to learn about recent events. Along with this, voters think that social media platforms give them information that's easy to access. This avoids them having to look up information by themselves because it simply appears to them on their feed. Another reason is that some voters don't have time to look elsewhere. People who study and work lack the time to do their own research about politics, so sometimes they use social media as a shortcut. Okay, so now let's get into some misinformation found on social media. One of the most significant apps that fostered false information during this election was TikTok. A report by Media Matters highlights many posts that obtained more than 200,000 views before TikTok removed them for violating its misinformation policy. This was popular in videos showing canon-related conspiracy theories. So social media also influences how candidates are perceived to audiences. Here's an example of that. A famous pop singer practically endorsed Kamala Harris by calling her a brat, the title of her new track.
Everything is in context. My mother she would give us a hard time sometimes, and she would say to us, I don't know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? You exist in the context of all in which you live and what came before you. I love Venn diagrams. I really do. I love Venn diagrams. It's just something about those three circles and the analysis about where there's the intersection, right? Yeah, I see people, you agree with me, right?
So as you can see, videos like these paint false images about characters. Okay, so there are so many examples of viral misinformation about the election on social media. For one thing, AI-generated images were created to falsely suggest that Taylor Swift had endorsed Trump. This isn't true. She actually endorsed Kamala Harris. AI-generated images like these can distort public perception and mislead voters. There was also talk about Kamala Harris cheating during the debate and using AI to make the rally crowd bigger, which were both also proven as misinformation. A fake conversation with Elon Musk and Trump also got a lot of attention. The conversation included false claims about immigration statistics and the legitimacy of the 2020 election. In this case, despite the fact checker's best efforts, the damage was considered done. Okay, so now let's look at if social media actually did shape voter opinions. For the study, 1,000 US residents from ages 18 to 29 were examined to find a relationship between social media and voting attentions. The study concluded that young adults who consume news from traditional media sources, such as news organizations, websites, and television broadcasts, were significantly more likely to say that they were going to vote than those who relied on social media platforms or YouTube alone. This trend held true regardless of political affiliation, whether liberal, moderate, or conservative. Finally, it's important to learn how we can combat election misinformation on social media for future elections. It's important for viewers to view the information presented on social media and other news sources with a critical eye and carefully evaluate the credibility of the content. We need to look for sources that contain a variety of perspectives to avoid consuming misinformation. To be more educated, voters must seek out information from news organizations that may challenge the content on social media. So, if you don't know, a social media bot is an automated software program designed to perform actions on social media platforms, like posting content, liking, commenting, or following users, often simulating human behavior to achieve specific goals. Bots were very common in spreading false information during the election. We can detect bots by looking at these features. So, these include anonymity, hyperactivity, multiple languages on a page, and unlikely popularity of an account. Any pages with these characteristics shouldn't be trusted when looking for information. So, to wrap up, as of 2025, social media platforms are fostering the most misinformation viewed by the public. It remains crucial that we avoid creating echo chambers in future elections. We must vote off of true information from articles about candidates as opposed to a viral video shown on our feeds. Thank you for listening.
Yay, wonderful work. Nice. I just want to share with everyone that our teens who are presenting their capstones here and in our first Flip the Script event in December, they are they presented for the first time in the summer internship. Nisa particularly presented on the same subject, but before the election happened. So she was analyzing the social media before the election. So it's wonderful to see Nisa bring back this capstone with updates, like analyzing how social media impacted the election post-election. So nice. I want to give you props for that. Thank you so much for doing that. Oh, so many great things. And of course, if you have questions, you can start putting them in the chat, or we're gonna do Q&A very soon after our last presentation for the day. Oh my gosh, we have so many good presentations already, and we have another great one coming up. And this one is going to be from Sophia. So Sophia, are you okay screen sharing, or would you like me to screen share for you? Or what's more comfortable?
I can screen share because I think I have sound and some weird transitions. So
Fantastic. Let me make you a co-host. I may need to do that. And there. Let's see if you're able to share your screen now.
this is my presentation on gun violence in social media, specifically doing basically a case study about John Morant, a professional basketball player. So this is just to talk about how we can open up a genuine conversation with kids about their digital footprint. It's not giving my opinion on guns or anything like that, but we'll get started. Okay, who is John Morant? I'll get into that. What he did, how he was punished, and what we can take away. Okay, I am super passionate about this presentation because I've been playing basketball my whole life. That's me my freshman year. And it's everywhere in my online, all over my platforms, everyone I follow, everyone who follows me, I basically know them somewhere or another through basketball. And my feed is just basketball, basketball, basketball. I am very impacted by John Morant's actions. Okay, John Morant. He's more well known to younger fans due to he's a lot younger than a lot of NBA players, and he just kind of has this like fun little attitude going on. But at the time, this was in 2023. He's 23 years old. He plays for the Grizzlies, which is an NBA team, and he's known for his very high vertical jump. There's clips of him all over TikTok, Instagram, etc., of like jumping up super high and blocking the ball. And he played at Murray State College. He was very successful coming into the league. He won Rookie of the Year, which is a very big deal. He is an all-star, and in the NBA, the all-stars, there's two teams, and they pick the best players from the professional league to play in that one game. So very big deal, especially at, just 23 years old. Like I said, he's very appealing to younger fans. So he has shoe deals, collabs with Powerade, etc. So those are his shoes. Everyone went crazy over them. He's, his super high vertical jump. I bet Omar can jump that high, but
Totally.
pretty high jump. Very famous, very important basketball game. That's him with his Rookie of the Year trophy. And if you look here, he's number 8 on top selling NBA jerseys, and everyone above him is very well-known player who've been playing in the league for quite a while. And of course, his deals with Powerade, and he just kind of has this like fun, young attitude on the court that kids really enjoy. But he basically threw most of it away. And how? It first started when he was playing a pickup game at his own house, and he fought with a teen basketball player. And then he went on Instagram Live in Colorado, seen with a firearm at a bar. And then after that, he was later saw again on Instagram Live with another firearm after being reprimanded for the previous Instagram Live. And people accused him of using ChatGPT to write his apology. So this is what Action News said, that Holloway, which is the player right there, he filed a lawsuit saying that he got punched in the face. And John Morant actually said that it was self-defense for getting a ball thrown at his head, but I'm not sure why you would punch someone after getting a ball thrown at your head. It just seems a bit irrational and hot-headed. And then the next part I'll be getting into does contain images of guns. So if you have any issues with that or difficulties, feel free to step away, leave the Zoom. Here we go. This is the first Instagram Live. This was at a bar in Colorado. That was the whole thing. He basically threw away his legacy for 2 seconds of flashing a firearm. And here's the second one.
Yeah. The video circulated on Saturday night. It shows Morant with what appears to be a handgun while he's riding in a friend's car. Yesterday, the Grizzlies said they...
So again, it's, only 3 or 5 seconds of flashing this firearm, but it's a very, very big deal. And he got accused of using ChatGPT to write his apology. Now, we've all used ChatGPT. However, it is quite disappointing that he cannot access his genuine human emotions, which is what ChatGPT lacks. And he's looking for AI in order to seem genuine. So people are implying that he doesn't really care and he doesn't actually feel that guilty, because if he did feel guilty, then he would come up with his own apology instead of using a emotionless technology to do so. Okay, so how is he punished? I feel that these punishments are a bit light, but I'll ask you guys about it later. For the first gun appearance in that first Colorado video, there was only an 8-game suspension, so he couldn't play for 8 games. The second gun appearance, he was suspended from all team activities, and most of his deals and sponsorships ended. And he lost a lot of money, about $38 million, which is quite a lot. But the controversy, possessing a firearm is legal and Colorado is an open carry state. However, with the NBA, they don't allow for you to possess a firearm in relevance to the team. So even though he was in Colorado and it was totally legal, it was not legal under the NBA to hold that firearm, especially because he was in Colorado for his job, which is playing basketball. And going back to the punishments, do you guys think that he should have been more punished? Do you think it's too much of a punishment? Do you think they're overreacting, underreacting? You can put it in the chat, just speak out, whatever you'd like, or just think about it. But I just think that because he's a celebrity and he brings in a lot of revenue for the NBA, in my opinion, it's a bit light because they wanted to keep him playing. But yeah, okay. Then I'll keep going. He also claims that it was not his gun, but news stations are implying that it is his gun. He brought it on the airplane, which is very, very dangerous to bring a firearm on an airplane. And the airplane, which he was flying with his team to play a basketball game. So even though it was not his gun, people think it was his gun. He was the one that was possessing it, and he had it in relevance to his Memphis Grizzlies team. What are his effects? How does 5 seconds of flashing a firearm affect his profession, his legacy, his fans, especially? Adam Silver, who runs a big part of the NBA, he said that there's very serious repercussions because of his incredible following. I mean, this little boy is crying after meeting Ja Morant and getting his shoes. It's a very big deal for him. He obviously looks up to Ja Morant. He ruins his reputation. He's very strong basketball player, big influence on kids, but if you flash firearms, parents are not going to look highly upon that, especially with the rise of gun violence, especially in schools and other educational systems. A negative impact on tools like ChatGPT or Instagram. He used Instagram twice. He did not really learn from his mistakes, and he used ChatGPT to form an ingenuine apology. So people can tend to correlate those platforms with actions that like Ja Morant and can actually ruin those platforms when they did nothing wrong. And of course, just more of the basketball side, his team can't play with him, and they actually did not do very well without him playing due to his suspension. And I just feel that this topic is very important considering the rise of gun violence, especially in schools. Actually, a classmate of mine was suspended yesterday for bringing a toy gun to school, which, it's not a harm, but it's still taken super seriously due to the threats that these firearms possess in the educational system. And in 2023, when I did this presentation in the summer, there's 400 mass shootings already in the US, just over 200 days into the start of the year. So even though he didn't shoot anyone, he didn't use the gun, just the mere flashing of it can influence the mass following of kids that he has that adore him, like this little boy, and can harm a lot more people than it's helping. So that's all. Thank you.
Very well done. Especially the last statement was particularly powerful, Sophia. Thank you so much for sharing that. All these presentations were just perfect for today, Safer Internet Day, really making us think about the different parts of tech use and how to be more mindful about it, and really think about how would we manage these situations should it come to us, from video game currency, situations around that, to reading information, potential misinformation online when it comes to important decisions like the election, and then your own reputation online. How can one little thing like showing something for 3 seconds like a gun, how can that really affect your reputation online and your life, potentially a career? And why it happens like that. It's all this stuff is very new to many of us who didn't grow up with this kind of this online world and this technology. So I like that. Just these presentations, it's so fitting for what we believe in here in My Digital Tattoo. And I can't wait to take some of this stuff. And we learn a lot from the youth voices. We like taking a lot of the stuff that we learn and see how that can fit in our curriculum because we do teach about misinformation and reputation in our middle school curriculum, particularly in the eighth grade. We talk a lot about video games in the younger grades because a lot of kids are playing video games these days, and we want them to understand more about how to be mindful about their video game use. There's safety, of course, and the kind of games you play, but currency is something we currently don't talk about in our curriculum. And now I'm thinking this is something we need to talk about either there or maybe even better in our parent education workshops. We also do workshops for parents at schools, at districts, and other areas. So um, I can keep on talking. And before I start with questions, I'm wondering if Abby and Rachel, you had any comments you wanted to share before we start a Q&A?
No, I didn't. Just really amazing job. Gave us a lot to think about. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're ready to take some questions. Folks, feel free to come off mute to share your question for any of our presenters, or you could pop it into the chat. We're happy to read it out loud.
Actually, I want to encourage Abby to share her last comment. I just saw you in the chat for Sophia. You want to share what you put there?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, Sophia. I wonder what role John Morant's age played in all of that. It sounds like he was in his early 20s, if I'm understanding correctly, when he became famous, and then when all of those things happened. And that sounds like a lot to take on as a very young person, dealing with fame, a lot of money, a lot of attention from people who you don't know. And it just sounds very challenging to me. It makes me sad that ultimately, I mean, he has to take ownership of his own actions, and yet those actions are the result of the circumstances that he was in as well. So I'm curious what role you think his age may have played in that, in decision making.
I think it plays a very large role. It's your first time playing like, professional basketball. Every action that you do is seen by thousands or millions of people. Um, and a lot of, his teammates, his opponents, they come from not as privileged childhood, and have dealt with, gun violence and shootings and everything. So I think that he also was surrounded by that, perhaps. But I just, with your fame and the money that you're making and the opportunities that you have, you know, responsibilities and accountability. And I think that, you can't just get famous and do whatever you want because you are watched by a lot of people and there's benefits and drawbacks to that. But I just, I think that he should have matured from the first showing, knowing the consequences of that first Instagram live. And he should have understood that, maybe don't do it again when you have this mass following. I guess I could try to understand it the first time, but because he did it twice, it feels more like a choice than a mistake to me. So
Interesting. Yeah. Thanks.
Amazing. And thank you, Abby. I do want to bring in a question for myself, because I'm going to say it again. I love video games. So, Jake, I got a question for you, more to make myself feel better. But when it comes to spending real money on video games, in your opinion, and Nice and Sophia, you can jump in as well if you play a little bit of games yourselves. Um, would you say that there are moments where, like, buying a virtual, whatever it is, a virtual skin, an item, an upgrade, do you feel like it could be worth it sometimes? Just so we don't say that, spending money in video games is bad 100%. Do you think there are moments where like, oh no, it could really make a kid's day, it could make it better for them and make their experience better? What do you think about that?
I feel like there's two ways of approaching it. So like one way is like making you feel better, and the other way is like, is it necessary? So in terms of like making you feel better, yeah, it might make you feel better, but is it really necessary to buy a skin for a game? Not really, right? It's like something that's just a skin just to make you look better in the game. It's just not really worth anything.
Mhm. Absolutely. Thank you for that take.
Mhm.
Nisa, Sophia, I don't think I ever asked you if you played video games. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Um, I play Heyday, so it's just like a farming game, and there's a lot of opportunities to buy things to like accelerate your your farm.
Yeah.
Um, but I think that like it's only if you want to just spend less time on the game and just kind of like get a shortcut. But I do think that if you spend an like a normal or like small amount on games, it can be okay. Like some games, like Minecraft, it costs money to initially buy, but then you don't have to pay anything unless you want to. So I think that, like a lot of these games need your money to make money. So it like helps both of you. But if you're spending like 70,000 like that one person, then it's just not okay.
Mm.
Nice, thank you. And Nisa, do you have an opinion as well?
Yeah, I actually used to be a big Roblox player.
Yeah.
I remember like I always used to like ask my parents to like buy me Robux. I actually was never allowed to get them. And like looking back at it, I realize why. Like I realized it wasn't necessary at the time. But also when I was younger, I used to play a lot of games that required like a membership to like upgrade like I played it's a pretty old game. It's called Animal Jam. And if you got a membership, you'd get like the best quality things in the game. I was allowed to get that. Um, and like you needed to buy it like once a month, and I'd buy it like every couple of months. I thought that was like doing a little less damage. It was still really cheap. It was like $5, I think. And it didn't last for too long. I think things like that are worth it just because it lasts a little longer, and I was really young, like it didn't continue like years and years. But Jake, like you said, like buying something like every like new skin that comes out, like I feel like that might be a little unnecessary and kind of a waste of money. So, yeah.
Nice.
Uh,
So
to add
some
on, to add on to what Sophia and Nisa said, like I feel like one use is okay, but like multiple uses is like you got to be more careful about that.
I like that, being careful. It is easy to be like just one skin, and then the next week, wait, just one more, and then so on. Oh, any other people my age or older remember the old days of just buying the game and that's it. You don't have to worry about additional purchases. Yeah, Jake, Nisa, Sophia, you may be too young for this, but back in our day, that's how it was. Yes, and now it's all, all these different forms of spending money. Okay, I took a lot of time talking about video games. Does it?
Elmar, we do have
Yes.
a question in the chat, and
Thank
this is
you.
for all three. So any of our speakers, please jump in if you have a thought about this. Um, we have here, let's see, from Anthony. In your opinion, what do you think is the most significant thing to making social media a safer place? If there was one thing that you think should be done, even if it's pie in the sky. Jake.
I feel like I'm just gonna like talk about what's already implemented, like Instagram, like they have new teen accounts, like how parents have access to see what their teens have, and just like to be sure that teens are aware of like what they're seeing, or like their parents know what they're viewing and things like that, to make it safer for teens in general.
Great. So you like that there's an option for a teen account that has different functionality. Great.
To add
Mhm.
on, like something we talk about, like I'm sure Omar has like brought this up before, be make sure that like you're in control of like your social media rather than the other way around, like social media controlling you. Like as long as you can make sure that you know when to stop using social media, like that you're not letting it take over your everyday life. As long as you like feel like you have that control over it, I think that's like one way to like feel safer and be safer on it. If it gets to the point where you feel like you can't stop and that it's basically like draining you every day, that's when it gets really unsafe.
I
Thank you,
definitely
Nisa. Sophia, go
um
ahead.
I definitely agree with Nisa. Like I think that social media is great when it's in balanced doses. I think where we get in trouble or when it becomes unsafe is when you're spending too much time on social media. Like anything, there's a balance. And I think that the more that you spend on it, the more like self-aware, the more self-comparing you are, and the more just kind of like susceptible to everything on the internet. But I think that if you spend, the normal like 2 hours of screen time or go outside and touch grass, like Jake says, then um, it'll be okay.
Well said.
And I don't know, Anthony, if you want to share, that was your question. You're welcome to jump in with any comments and thoughts that you might have, and anybody else on this topic.
Yeah, so I have a question for Nisa. I'm curious, since you did your presentation before the election and then again after the election, um, was there anything as you were updating it that surprised you, or that you realized, oh, I definitely predicted that when I was putting this together over the summer?
Yeah, honestly, like I looked at a lot of studies on whether like social media like actually impacted the voter decisions. Um, and like a lot of them had like really surprising statistics. Like with like all of them basically supported the idea that it does shape voter opinions. There was one article that kind of talked about how like it was like they surveyed a smaller group of people, but like 100% of those people didn't chose not to vote, and they said that their like reason was because of something that they found on social media. And I thought that was really crazy because it's like that means social media has like that great of an like effect. Like some viral video of like a candidate saying something or doing something might like determine if someone votes, which is like really important for the election. So yeah.
Wow, fascinating. Thank you.
And then I think we have time for one more really powerful question here in the chat. Is what is sorry, hold on, I just lost it. What advice would you give to future generation?
I think just like this sounds super like old soul, but enjoy your youth. I think I see a lot of these middle school girls, especially trying to grow up and go to Sephora, like use fancy perfumes, like wear certain clothing, but like now, like at my age, I'm like, oh my God, let's go on the swing set. Let's go like take a nap. So I think just like enjoy your age, and just enjoy like the outside and the world, because like social media is always there, and it's like you never really feel fulfilled after going on social media, but like going outside or hanging out with people that you care about feels a lot better, in my opinion.
Thank you. Jake?
I would say like control yourself. Know what you're doing. Know what like every step. Like think before you do. Like make sure that what you're doing is okay before taking action, because those actions can come back on you. Like maybe later on, like Sophia said about John Morant, like punishment after accident, or like not accidentally, like purposely doing something. Just be in control. Like don't use too much social media. Know what you're gonna do and think.
Yeah,
Nisa.
I completely agree with Sophie and Jake. I feel like people need to remember that I feel like in newer generations, social media is becoming like a whole like another world. And I feel like people need to remember that like real life is still a thing. Like if you like want to have fun, like you don't need social media, Like you have like friends to talk to, you can go out. Like there's like a whole other world out there that's like not online. And I feel like the younger generations need to like start appreciating that more while they still can.
And Nisa, like just to follow up on that, when the adults say this, right, sometimes it feels like it's going in, it's not sticking, right? And so we use these words, all of the words that you and Jake and Sophia have suggested. But is there something else that adults can do, or perhaps is something is just the adults, they're not the best person to do or say, that can make an impact? Because sometimes it feels like we say these things, right? And we're not sure it's sticking.
I feel like it's really hard because for adults, like if I were thinking like when most adults talk, they kind of like bring their own experience into it. Like they go like, "Oh, like when I was your kid, or I mean when I was your age, like it was a certain way like this." I feel like that's something that shouldn't be said because like we live in a completely different world digitally now than when like adults did. Like an adult saying like, "Oh, when I was a kid, like I didn't use like social media like whatever like this." They also probably didn't have like as much access to social media as we do, which is why it's hard for adults to kind of bring their personal experience into it. I feel like a good way for adults to like address it is to be kind of more understanding. I understand that you have access to like this whole world online, but like just kind of giving them like advice to like use it moderately and like safely. Like I don't think there's too much an adult can say to a kid that will get them to stop using it, but I guess just like understanding might be the first thing.
I think also like you just have to not force your kid to go do stuff, but like I was put into sports at a really young age. So it like made me go outside and made me meet new people instead of like just being an iPad kid, I guess. So I think like if I was a parent, I definitely would try and get my kid to see for themselves like the benefits of not using social media as much or finding a balance instead of like having to endure the like long-term consequences of going online. I think like helping them discover first like the other parts of life in social media instead of like letting them stay confined to the internet. But I definitely think that like COVID really increased the use of social media and like the kids' developmental stages. So it's pretty hard as a parent, I guess, because they also use social media too. So
Thank you.
Very well said. Really, really powerful perspectives right there. It says a lot about what we believe in My Digital Tattoo. Once again, that we want to encourage parents to understand their children, have these open conversations, and then take some of action. Like you'll know more when you try to understand them more. So big thanks to Sophia, Nisa, and Jake for presenting their capstones on a school night, by the way. That we appreciate you so much. You delivered a lot of great content and made us think so much more about so many different things across distinct tech topics. So we reached 8 o'clock. You can sign up for our newsletter. I saw Abby left a link in the chat if you want to keep up with our resources and what we are doing here at My Digital Tattoo, including more events like this and teen programs. Thank you so much for staying with us till the end. You all have a great rest of your night and happy Safer Internet Day.
Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. Thank you to our speakers. You did it. Yay.
Great. Good night.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Thank you,
Good
Tamara, for coming.
night.
Of course. Good night.